The story of the Montagnards, however, is an ancient one. For some 2,000 years, in their ancestral homelands ranging from central Vietnam to neighboring Cambodia, the Montagnard Highlanders lived in mountain villages in a delicate balance with nature.
Long time ago, the Montagnard people lived in the central highland of Vietnam.
They really worked out a very effective adaptation to the highland physical environment.
Dr. Gerald Hickey, an anthropologist, arrived in Vietnam in 1956. For the next 17 years, he remained in Vietnam, much of it working with the Montagnards, and was one of the few people to ever write about these ancient indigenous peoples.
They knew that you had to preserve the resources, that is the forests, the soils, and everything. So they had developed a whole system of stewardship in each group, where the village leaders were the ones who were stewards. They would see that the farming was done correctly, there was no overhunting, there was no abuse of the forest, and it was a form of farming where you cut trees, but you don't cut the big trees. And then you let the branches and everything dry, and you burn it, and then you farm for maybe 3 years. Now they knew how many years you could farm certain soils. All they had to do was look at them and field them, and they had experience at this.
It was said to be probably the best practice of managing the land in the Central Highlands. They farmed a field from 5 to 7 years. Then they ended up laying it, it would lay fallow, and then it would regenerate with trees, and they would rotate to another piece of land. Perhaps in 3 or 4 rotations, they might return back to the same piece of land. The forest then allows the soil to regenerate with its nutrients and revive itself.
And also, they never plowed the topsoil. They used dibble sticks. You took a stick and you made a hole and you put the seed. In other words, you left the structure of the topsoil intact, which is very important in the highlands where you're on slopes and you have heavy downpours of rain in the rainy season. Otherwise, the topsoil would all wash away, which it didn't. And then they would leave it for maybe 7 years and go back and cut it and farm it again. And they knew who owned, who was using which fields, and everybody respected the use that these people had, and you would never go in and farm someone's field if they were farming it, or even if it was fallowing. They knew whose field was fallowing. They respected one another's rights.
The origins of these highland peoples and their languages are Mon Khmer and Malayo-Polynesian. There are over 30 tribes and subgroups that include the Ede, Jarai, Banar, Kahol, Manong, Sting, Sadang, Bru, Jay, and Hre. They were historically animists and believed in an array of spirits. Their world will be symbolized by the crossbow, the loincloth, woven baskets, and thatched longhouses. They drank rice wine from earthen jars. They used looms to weave clothing and developed unique musical instruments. Many groups kept domestic elephants. While agriculture would be their primary source of food, they also hunted the forest and fished the highland rivers.